begin the year with doing a lot of work around like what it is to be a community and developing kind of our own guidelines for how we're going to work together. But the negotiated curriculum process is really, I think, empowers the kids the most. They start with the questions and concerns they have about themselves and the world, and then from there we develop this year-long theme. And within that, they get to choose their pathway. So they basically can decide what they're going to research, study, learn about, do, make, whatever it is. So I think that really sets the stage for empowering them to use their voices in a positive way.
Okay, and so I put that visual on the board to kind of guide us as we're talking about it too, because that's like a way that when I share this process with people, it helps them understand that it's like not like it took a long time to get to your projects, right? Often it does. Although some you come in with an idea and you know really what you want to do and you start working on it. But so why don't you start by talking about the beginning of the year when we develop our questions or concerns we have about ourselves and questions or concerns we have about the world and what we do with those. Maybe does anyone want to start with the beginning stages, like what we start with in the beginning of the year?
We start with the world and the self and will questions, but we do that as an individual first, right? Yeah, that's how we do it. So first, like, each person has an assignment to come up with 10 self questions they have about like themselves, and then 10 will questions they have, like questions about the world. So everyone like writes down 10 of each, and so then we come in groups. We come in like groups of 4, and then everyone votes or kind of figures out how to agree on which questions to put on the paper. So they agree, and then every group comes out with an official thing of world and self questions.
They kind of also talk about like the problems that are in the world and like how those can change on into the future. So that's one of the main things that a lot of people ask.
Nice.
Well, when we're coming up with our group self and world questions, what we do is first we'll read through our own self and world questions to the whole group, and then we'll find commonalities between our questions, and we'll come up with like general questions that we had that were common, and then those will be our group questions, and we'll put them on like big papers.
Does anyone want to talk about how you then like extract the theme? That's the hardest part, I think.
Well, you usually kind of find, common questions. Like our group, when we were working, we found a lot of questions about technology. So we kind of decided, well, a good amount of projects this year have been themed around technology. So we just thought our theme was going to be technology, but you kind of just extract the questions and different things that interest you. Like a lot of people, we went for technology, and other groups went for a lot of broader scale. And some groups, like, they might have found a lot of science questions, so they might have made it about science.
When you're developing the theme poster with your group, what did you all talk about? Make it a little.
Well, we tried. What we first talked about was talking about possible projects that could come out of the theme, and we would just find ways that it would fit under different category or different subjects that we learned in school.
Yeah. And usually also you try to think about how projects like that can affect the community, because you don't really want to just make a project because you feel like it. You usually want it to have it affect the community in a positive way, of either teaching them something, exposing them to social justice issues, something like that.
Absolutely. So then we present. Anyone want to talk about the presentation? Brayden, you want to talk about presentations?
Sure.
Okay.
So for presenting it, you kind of have to sell it a little bit, and you want as many votes as you can. So you try to make it most memorable and have something that most people will want. And that's basically it.
Yeah, that really sums it up.
But a lot of it is just explaining what it is clearly, because if your theme doesn't make sense, nobody's gonna want to do it because they won't really understand what they're supposed to do. And so you want to know what your theme is so that you can explain it to other people.
Yeah.
A clean and clear poster and theme is a good thing to have.
Yeah, kind of like it's like a web of ideas, and like it should look interesting. And what's interesting to me is always like aesthetically, the pleasing ones always like tend to do better, but also the enthusiasm that like selling something is really important. Like if you were up and you're like, this is technology, you know, there's some math connections, and you know, people probably would not be as enthusiastic about it. So you kind of have to work the crowd a little bit, right? And then dotmocracy. Anyone want to explain dotmocracy?
Usually what happens is you might get you'll probably get 2 dots, and you go around and the posters are on the wall, and you can put both dots on your own if you really want to win, or put it on like each one on like your 2 favorites, and then whichever one has the most dots at the end wins. So, but it basically gives you, where you don't just raise your hand for one. You have choices, like if you like this one and this one.
Once we had our theme, before even the project Brainstorm, so our theme was creative design. If you can think it, you can make it. What did you guys have to do? You had 2 different projects, like little mini projects. We always have like some mini projects to get people kind of understanding these big ideas. So what did you have to, do you remember what your 2 little projects were? Not that little, but.
So we had one project that was like, you had to choose like what you think the most important invention of human history was, and so that was kind of the design part. And then you had one that was like your definition of creativity, or a definition, or like some components of creativity put into like a and something. Like it was pretty not. We weren't told exactly what we had to do. They just like defined creativity, and so you could do anything.
Mm-hmm. The instructions were
very broad and very open-ended
Yeah.
for a reason, right? Because we wanted you guys to really think creatively about how you would go about it.
And the second thing we did was an invention. We had to create a poster about like an important invention in the world, like a car or like an idea. Yeah, so like it was like.
What was the most important? And then we actually voted on it, didn't we?
Yeah.
The reason that Phil and I always have these little mini projects, like even though you might be like so ready to jump into your project, especially as an 8th grader when you've already done a project before, is that we like to make sure that you have practiced the research skills. So like with that invention project, that was just practicing some of the research skills that we'd want you to use during your larger project. And then with the creative design is we want you to understand like what is our theme, and how are you gonna like really, you know, dive into this theme, and what are some of the possibilities. So do you guys remember what you did for your creative design projects, like, or what is creativity projects?
I did transportation.
That was your invention. Do you remember what you,
invention.
do you remember what you did?
Yeah, for my creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for my creativity, I decided to do a video of it was just a video of like, it was kind of like I can't say the word, improvisation, yeah. And so it was kind of like, I guess I'll explain what it was. So it started out with like a girl, and she saw a clock, and she thought of it as like a metronome. So then she brought a piano out and started playing piano, and then other people like joined in and played other instruments. So that was the video. It was kind of about like thinking of things in other ways. And, yeah.
Do you remember what you did for your creativity?
I made a video of different things that had to do with the arts and everything. So I took pictures around the school of like all the murals that were made, and I put music in the background that was like piano music.
Of you playing? What was that?
Yes, I was playing, and then I also put another piece by Debussy.
Jesse, what did you do for your creativity?
I don't really remember.
I'm trying to remember. I remember your identity project videos.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what you did for your. We'll have to like check your remember.
Yeah.
Go back. Do you remember, Ben, what you did?
I kind of did something along the lines as Nora's. Like I did take pictures of like the things around the school, and then I kind of did things with like painting and like drawing, since like it's doing whatever you think or you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like what you're doing. It's whatever you want. So
Yeah. Ben, do you remember yours?
No idea. I forgot.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. This was so long ago.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had to be creative in the way that you shared your understanding of creativity? It feels like there's, to me, there'd be this pressure to do that.
I think it was like really hard for some people too. Like it was so open-ended. We weren't like make a video. We're like your identity videos were your identity project. It was like make a video that answers like that explores these questions, which were really, you know, when we were thinking about our PLP and who we are and what makes us unique. But this was like creative design. Go forth. Did you use stop motion for that one? Yeah. I think there was some stop motion, and I'm getting everyone's videos blended together. But so that was just a little side piece there. I mean, from the behind the scenes piece, a lot of the first parts here are more just, we want them to be collaborative and participate. We use standards-based assessment, so I think probably for like the creativity project and the identity project, you were assessed probably on a number of standards, mostly probably skills and attributes. The brainstorm, we usually have people just brainstorm. I don't know how, I can't remember how we did this year, but we've done it in a number of ways. Oh, you remember? Okay.
We sat down and we did a quick write on just some ideas that we had for our project and what we were kind of interested in and looking into for the year. And then we would go back through and we would just look at it and kind of make changes, and then we would turn it into either Lindsay or Phil.
We all got in the gathering space over there, and we all said our ideas. Like each person said an idea. So if I had an idea about something, and someone said, like ecological design, and I thought, well, I like my idea, but that one seems a lot better, then you might go with that as a project. But everyone just gave an idea. So at the end, there were 40-ish ideas. So there's a lot of things people could think about.
And from the teachers or the adult perspective, the negotiation part, it's just basically like Phil and I looking at what you're interested in and then meeting with you all and thinking about, is this going to work? Can you work independently? Like, are you ready for that kind of piece, or is it hard? Should you work in a group? Is this going to be a topic that's going to keep you engaged for a full year? What are you hoping to do? How are you hoping to impact the community? So there's just a number of questions that we ask you, right?
My project, I had an idea at the beginning of the year, and I started working on it, but then over the year, my project changed a lot. I started wanting to make an app, and then I ended up making a website. So, and it's just one of the main reasons was because I couldn't find a lot of sources to help me with an app, and it would be more, it would be easier for the community to get at the website.
So it's kind of like I got connected because I had a lot of people that are connected to some farms, and so I kind of wanted to learn a lot more about what everybody's been talking about and everything that everybody does there. So
My project started out as filmmaking, but then I kind of moved into photography because I kind of like that more. So, because I have a good friend that kind of inspired me.
I decided my project in the summer, and I decided to do a bike trip in originally Kansas and then switched it to Holland.
So Braden just got back from his bike trip. He biked how many miles?
192.
192 miles in Holland. But throughout the year, he was creating his itinerary, learning he would go to Bike Recycle Vermont, and learn how to repair his own bike when he's there and fix bikes and bike mechanics. And So he had an idea in the summer, and really, I just think it's such a great example when I think about like Act 77 and flexible pathways, multiple pathways. Like that's a really an interesting one.
Well, I started thinking about it, about using coding or something like that, when I saw my brother's game last year at Project Fair, and then I came here, and then I wanted to do something themed with technology, and kind of like what Nora said, I also wanted to try to do an app, but a lot of times those things either cost a good amount of money to do, or the free ones, like you could only do like a certain thing, and so, and I didn't really have, just spare money lying around, so I decided to go with Scratch and do more of a blocky coding and just made a video game.
About this time last year, I was reading a book called Inkheart, and one of the main characters is a bookbinder. And so I didn't really realize that people still like handbound books, but I thought it was kind of interesting because I've always liked books, and so I decided to that I wanted to do that as my project. But then I was thinking about how expensive paper could be if I was going to like buy the paper for all the books. So I decided I was going to try to recycle my own paper and then use that paper to bind it into books. And so that's how my project came about.
And there's that motivation.
When you have the self questions in the blue part of that, sort of very beginning stages, so you generate all these self questions, how do they get answered if they don't get answered in the projects? Or I'm making an assumption that they need to get answered. Maybe they don't.
No.
I don't think they need to get answered.
Things like, you might say, where will I go to college? After doing a project about, like I did about coding, it probably won't tell me, oh, you're going to go to Harvard. Some of the questions, won't be answered. Like some of the world questions, how will the Earth change in the future? Like that one, it's not, like I said, by coding, it's not going to change, global warming. It's just going to kind of happen.
Yeah.
I think we all know that most of the questions we ask aren't going to be answered, but it's just kind of a time that we can explore the questions and try to, I guess, maybe like come up with an opinion or like just figure out what you think about them.
Yeah, we also offer like other things as well during the year, like sugaring is always an ongoing piece, and right now there's people doing some gardening, and so there's other things that are like happening so that people don't get like stagnant.
I think like projects, it definitely teaches you a lot of life skills, and things. It does teach you like some good academic things, but it teaches you a lot of life skills too. Like everyone had to reach out to a community partner. So it kind of teaches you like how to email someone and how to get in contact with someone out in the community, and then meeting up with them, and just kind of teaches you these really helpful skills.
Like life is not like math all the time. It's an integrated experience. So, but if I were to like dissect Nora's project, she probably has a lot of math and science and writing in there, and any of these projects. So yeah, I think they're rigorous in a different way.
So when I think about you guys writing your reflections at the end of the week, I know there are a number of reasons to do so.
Like their projects should be fun. And I think as a teacher, like Phil and I sometimes struggle with that piece, like are they having too much fun? Like are they learning? Like what's going on? But I mean, the whole idea behind the projects is that they are having fun, that it is enjoyable. I mean, the whole idea of being here for 7 hours a day is that you should be engaged and having fun.